Okay, greetings and welcome. It is Thursday, July 17th of 2025. This is the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally, and I will be here for the next 60 to 90 minutes, give or take, covering the latest news and current events. Got a massive show lined up. It's going to be epic, maybe. We shall see. But got a lot of interesting things to talk about, share and tell, show and tell. The hell am I smoking? Okay, well, anyway, we're here. So, a little disorganized. I was working on this thumbnail a little too long. That's the headline for today. Should we excommunicate the Epstein enthusiasts? Because I love my wordplay. And of course, this has been talked about, the biggest story in the news cycle for the last couple of weeks. This whole Epstein saga. It keeps getting weirder. And there's breaking news constantly. Well, at least there's a little breaking news. Is they're trying to get a special prosecutor. Just got a message about that, and I saw it on Truth Social. We dig in and we try to keep MAGA together as they are coming unglued, divided. And this seems to be an issue that people are going to die on this hill, maybe, or should it go away? We'll get into that. But things are escalating. Okay, so let's take a look at, what else do I have? We'll just throw a bunch of questions together that I will ask over the course of this broadcast, however long that may be. So, question: the Epstein hoax, is it for weaklings? And we must excommunicate the past MAGA supporters. Kind of put those together in a way. Should we force Congress to make a public vote on the Epstein files release? And MAGA, if they're mad at Trump on Epstein, are they just snowflakes? And is Trump being held hostage by a foreign country? And is the Biden staff scandal the biggest in American history? With the old auto pen there. And America, should they lower their legal voting age to 16? And finally, we should trust banks to control digital currency. So, these stories and more. Of course, you are invited to speak your mind, give your 2 cents, troll me ruthlessly and mercilessly, praise, what have you, or just whatever your random thoughts are on your mind, and I may or may not display them on the bottom of this screen for all of our amusement. Anyway, so go ahead, or the breaking news, all kinds of good stuff. Feel free to chime in. With that being said, I'm just going to run this quick intro, and we'll start hammering these topics. I'm going to try to keep it tight today, but we'll see. Okay, on the other side of this quick break, here we go. Okay, welcome back. Eccentric Perspective, Blake Wally. We're going to talk about Epstein. Okay, again, the story that will not die till we get some kind of good resolution that we can all be satisfied with. Probably pretty unlikely. Good afternoon, my fellow weakling. Or as maybe TK Mark is a hardcore MAGA supporter. wants to see me get excommunicated from the community. I don't deserve the big victory. If we trust the plan and trust Trump, it's going to bring us to the promised land. Here he is. The Kingmaker looks pretty intense. That's why I was a little bit late today. I was trying to get the thumbnail right, and then I ended up prompting Grok, and he came up with this little masterpiece. I threw in the background, but yeah, very angry Trump. So let's dive in. Maybe if I can get my shit together here. All right. So the first story, I don't want their support anymore. Trump is now disowning the past supporters for wanting the hoax Epstein files. So they are now a hoax. At least according to him, it's all a big Democrat plot. And maybe, I don't know. No, it's definitely not a hoax. It's not cooked up by the Democrats. I'm not exactly sure why he's changing opinion, and now he's torching his prior supporters. It's been a very bizarre turn of events. And so now President Trump on Wednesday, this is tripling down on his insistence the Epstein files are a Democrat hoax, disowned his past supporters as weaklings doing the Democrats' work for wanting the files disclosed. And maybe that could be part of a trap. It's very strange. It's like we're all being gaslit now. So we've seen some of these posts, but he's saying, yeah, the radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with their fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, which is fake and fully discredited. The lying 51 intelligence agents, yes, that was also true. Laptop from hell, which is, I guess, presumably in the FBI headquarters. Still haven't gotten that. Democrats swore it was Russian disinformation. Russia scam. Yeah, there's a lot of scams and hoaxes that the Democrat Party was involved with. We're going to get to another one with the auto pen, which might be the biggest one of them all. There were several under Obama with the IRS, or with Benghazi, or Fast and Furious. Plenty of scams, but the Jeffrey Epstein is not a hoax. It has been around a very long time and didn't just suddenly be turned into a hoax overnight. That's bizarre, and he's the only one that was saying it. He wants this to go away, but it just doesn't work that way. He doesn't have that much control over his base. Although, I'm not trying to burn the guy. I'm hoping he has a good explanation for this. Just it's more in the way that they've handled it. I could be okay with like, hey, let's take our time to sort this out. They could have just ran the clock out from behind the scenes. And instead, they just threw this memo out on a Sunday night. And then we're all just told to shut up. And now he's right. He's not happy. Now he's attacking the base. Okay, here it is. According to this, Trump is on a political suicide mission, but perhaps there is something else going on. We can sort of trust the plan and sort of hope that he knows what he's doing, and this is all just he's running a psyop. You can never quite predict what Trump is actually doing. No one really knows except himself. But yes, some alarming videos have come out.
Mr. President, I know you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen of that?
No, it's not the Attorney General, no. I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher.
Except, Bill Clinton was on the Lolita Express for 26 trips. But so, Trump was on there several times as well. He is on those flight logs, not necessarily to the pedo island. I don't think Trump is involved in that sort of thing, but he does have a long history with Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein has referred to him as like one of his great friends, or was for like 10 years, long time, associates. And apparently Jeffrey Epstein introduced Trump to Melania. Like the first day they met was actually on the Lolita Express. So he has been on the Lolita, yes, and there's plenty of pictures. They've been around, and perhaps they had a falling out. I'm not saying Trump wasn't, doing weird things that he shouldn't have been doing, but he wants this to go away. And he's not. They're not doing a very good job of communicating that. It's just kind of like, hey, just trust us. There's something weird. We have to untangle some of the hoax stuff that's in here. The Democrats tempered with the evidence. That would be better. Just please be patient. We're working on it, and just trust Bondi. And that could have been it. Now we're all of a sudden like everybody's a weakling. We're bad for talking about it, and now he's threatening excommunication. So he's apparently going after Alex Jones pretty hard, to which he responded about that. He's got his own picture of Pope Trump there. Trump saying that he will excommunicate anybody from MAGA that continues to question his administration's bizarre handling of the Epstein case. Why don't we run a clip of this Alex Jones rant?
I'm glad the Democrats aren't in, and I like a lot of the success you're having, and we're all having together. And your statements about you people that bring this up don't even deserve to be involved in this movement. You are excommunicata. You are henceforth ex cathedra from the mouth of the God King. You are expelled from the Church of the Holy Golden Toad, Donald John Trump. Well, I was never in the Church of the Holy Golden Toad. I do like you being a maverick, standing up for the country. We have the same enemies. I respect your stamina and courage. Been a big cheerleader when I agree with what you're doing. But if I'm being excommunicated, let me be clear, I was never in your church to be excommunicated. So you can't excommunicate me because I was never in your church.
Yes, the only people that will be allowed into the church are Cat Turd, Brendan Dilley, Vince Langman, Laura, and Benny Boy Shapiro. You must have 100% loyalty. You must kneel before the God King, or you will be excommunicated. Maybe. At least that's what's happening. This is the latest drama. And I can agree with Alex there. And I'm not in that club either. Just a neutral observer, but somebody who has, I have supported Trump from back in 2012. I wish I could, maybe sometime I can have an AI program go through all my old podcasts from 2011 to 2014, because I know I was even saying that Trump should run. So I've been a supporter. I'm a lifelong liberal. I have been on affiliated with many political parties, but I usually just vote for people in principle. And I saw Trump, as Alex has pointed out, as the maverick, the outsider, somebody who had know-how, the balls, the money to take on the DC swamp. So, well, I'm thrilled that he is still elected versus Kamala. And she'd be out day drinking. Well, the media would be covering that up and spinning it like they did covering for Biden all those years. There's a lot of good things. I want to see what else Trump can do over this agenda. He is our only chance. I'm willing to sort of set this issue aside, let it not be a distraction. this is a tough one, and it's Trump that messed this up with the communication, with the rollout of this new plan here to put the Epstein story to bed. But not going to look good. It's still going to cast a stain, and there's going to have to be some, high-level arrests at some point. There's going to have to be some kind of justice, some accountability for the elites and the swamp creatures in Washington, or whoever's pulling their strings. He's going to redeem himself for the Epstein stuff. For this current debacle. But what do I know? I'll just be excommunicado, be persona non grata, except I already have for like 15 years. I've been in obscurity on the outskirts of the alternative media. So I guess I'm not really sure. But I'm not, I've never been one to, just to take a side so that I could be, accepted by some of these, mainstream outlets or what have you. So that's just the nature of the independent media. I don't want to compromise that, sell out, or after 15 years. But I mean, not like anybody's offering anything anyway. I'm not part of that Trump team, so I'll let the people on those sides of the payroll deal with that. That's their own thing. But a lot of them are being called out on this. Are you using the MAGA to enrich yourself, or are we trying to take the country back over, regardless of who of who's in charge and who's running it? So. Let's keep rolling here.
I was never in a cult. I never said MAGA was a cult. I said a lot of people want it to be a cult. They're Dallas Cowboys.
I guess that's also the good news here, is that shown that MAGA is not a cult. Unlike the Democrats for all of these years, for the Obama years, the Biden years, who just marched in lockstep together and never criticized their leadership. You're not seeing the same as much as they would like to believe that, oh yeah, MAGA and the Trump, you guys are all in a cult. No, they're not. But there are some cult leaders, and they are being called out. In fact, let me find one of those. Here's a meme. Yeah, Hodge twins. They've been in the spotlight lately, as so many of the influencers are having a civil war. Got yes, if you're capable of criticizing your favorite politician, you are in a cult. That is, and it becomes that culture of fear, right? Because none of those guys I mentioned before will ever criticize Trump because they know that they're out. They'll be excommunicated, and then you get this position where everyone's just surrounded by loyalists, and that becomes a dangerous situation, because then no one's going to criticize the president. Then he can do whatever he wants. No one's going to say anything for fear that you're going to be the next one excommunicated. You're not loyal enough. So, yeah, great point here, Amber. Yeah, Trump supporters. Yeah, we lost friends, family. We supported someone we found guilty of felonies. Trump's message that he doesn't want their support anymore. Yeah, a lot of us have made some extreme sacrifices to do this, including myself. I've, through my career, my house, filed bankruptcy, went through lots of shit to try to get involved with the independent media, make a difference, get Trump elected in 2016, because I figured if Trump doesn't get in 2016, and all is lost. We're going to get sent. We're going to get stuck with the Hillary versus Jeb Bush administration, and maybe civilization would already, our country would already be gone by now. It would have already destroyed the First and Second Amendment and whatever else was on the elite's agenda. And Trump was the populist that stood in the way and just kind of have to hope that he's on our side, like we want to believe that he is. Otherwise, I don't know what we're gonna do. But that's tough. And then he's gonna turn his back on us, all the people that went through so much. It's not a good look. Yeah, a few Republicans might be happy to take their marching orders and move on. Yeah, we do need to get to the truth. I just don't know if it's the time to die on this hill right now and hold firm. Or, they were going for the special prosecutor route, but I think that's been shut down as well, which is also unusual. Why not just, even if you don't want to have the investigation, just set it up. Just make it all for, a dog and pony show. Let everybody see it. Let it quietly die in the background like the, what was it, during the Trump years? The, who was the special prosecutor the last time under Bill Barr? I'm already forgetting his name. The something report. We were waiting for that for years with the Russian collusion. I'm gonna have to dig that up. Waited for years and then nothing ended up happening. But that's the way these things do. That's the way they handle things in Washington. Get it out of the front, throw it on the back burner, let it dwindle and die, run the MAGA agenda, go after some powerful people at some point. Maybe the Epstein stuff, they'll start dragging those people in. It's collateral damage or what have you. Thank you, TK Mark, the Durham report. Thank you. Yeah, see, that just dragged on for years. It was like it was still going on. So eventually the wheels of justice, they go slowly, but eventually it'll catch up. And then it finally came out, and then it was like, okay. But much like the Mueller report. It took 2 years as well. So much resources, time, money, and then left with a big bowl of disappointment. Okay. Yeah, he is Donald Trump definitely in the Epstein files. I don't think he was doing bad things with minors. But he's certainly associated with Epstein. They can't put that one away. Or yes, he's doing a phenomenal job of making everyone think that he is. Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody knows. So maybe just release him. Maybe just call the special prosecutor. But looks like his nemesis Massey might be doing it. Let's keep moving along here. Love this meme. Somebody hacked Elmo's account last week. Started saying some awful things, but it was funny. But yeah, criticizing Trump for the Epstein list. So Elmo's back. It's another great meme I found today. They will release the Epstein list. The Epstein list is on their desk. To then, no, there is no Epstein list. To then, nobody cares about Epstein. And now, it's if you want the files released, you're a weakling and no longer a real Trump supporter. You deserve excommunication. So, another good one here from Shane Gillis. I guess he was hosting the ESPYs last night, and even he made a Epstein joke. Let's check this one out.
Donald Trump wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. All right. No, you don't have to do that. It was fine. I didn't write it. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
So everybody knows. So he's getting bad advice, Trump, in his inner circle. This is just made the problem that much worse, unless that's the point. Unless the point is to get people upset about it and talking about it and force them to acknowledge it. But if he's in it, it's a tough one. So if he didn't have all the history with Epstein, this probably would have been done. And maybe it's sabotage. Maybe there's poison pills and booby traps inside of it. But why can't he just say that? Now, why just attack your base instead? Don't get it. Yeah, just release the files. Put it to bed. Okay, let's go. Let's got more stuff here. Interesting. Elon Musk says, "Yeah, where's phase 2 anyway?" This was phase 1. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to put the story away when like there's so many things that they talked about. They're completely contradicting themselves from just a few weeks to a few months ago. I mean, what's this? I mean, it's weird how they're just gaslighting us so badly. They just brought up the Epstein file, but it's just phase 1. Phase 1 of how many? I don't know. But it was a big deal. The files that were sitting on Pam Bondi's desk, give them to the influencers. And then it's all a bunch of nothing, a bunch of old news, irrelevant stuff, numbers, data, everything redacted. And then there was never a phase 2, or at least phase 2 is being offered by Massey. This is pretty hilarious, I guess, fighting back in a way against Trump, since Trump is trying to have him primaried. It says phase 1 is the binders. Phase 2 is the congressional discharge petition filed to force a public vote on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives to release all Epstein files. And it's even put out by, there's the one base Democrat, Ro Khanna, who I think is the one that came up with this, or at least they're working him and Massey together, which is refreshing. We finally get some, people working across the aisle and a couple of based people. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. Speaking of based people in Congress, we had former Congressman Justin Amash saying there's something so incredibly damaging in those files that Trump would rather nuke his base in a desperate effort to get everyone to move on than publicly release the information. But you know what? I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm willing to let this one slide for a while. I wish they would have handled this better. I don't want Trump getting. What if Trump is in there? Then what? That's another scary thing. Well, what if Trump is in there and so many others, and then who replaces them? Who's going to step up? I mean, J.D. Vance is a good guy, so maybe we are in good hands. Because I actually have a clip here from Mike Pence. Mike Pence wants the files to come out. That's wild. And J.D. Vance. Scumbags got those binders still running cover. Trump, they're definitely. It's sad to see some of these influencers selling out. I mean, part of me does. I can't blame him. What is Brendan Dilley gonna do if he turns on Trump? His whole world is over. He knows that his whole business, everything is gone. The minute he says just the little slightest criticism of Trump, like, guys, I'm a little, nope, it's over. Your career is over. He knows it. Cat turd, probably the same thing. So, it's a tough situation. Here's another tweet here. JP Morgan settled with Epstein victims for $290 million in a class action lawsuit after being accused of facilitating Epstein's sex trafficking enterprise. Seems like a pretty big settlement for just a hoax. Wonder if they get their money back. So Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail for a hoax. JP Morgan's spent $290 million. Poor Prince Andrew smeared. No, I mean, it's weird that they're gaslighting us. Sad. Okay, so let's get to, we got VP Vance here, even being called. He was on Theo Von's show, in which Theo Von is asking, what's changed? Let's check this clip out.
Release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Release the list.
Yeah. Release the list. Okay, so let's take a look at another vice president, the former vice president, who I was not fond of. I was happy to see let go. This was part of Trump's compromise to become president, to warm up to the establishment rhino neocons, take one of their swamp creatures, Pence. Well, I guess wasn't the worst, but at least he's gone. But even he's calling for the Epstein files, which is weird. Now that this is starting to make me think maybe this is a trap. If you've got Mike Pence, neocon Nikki Haley, and even Kevin Spacey, who's done some really dirty stuff and was on Epstein's island, he wants it all to come out. Makes me wonder if it's a trap. Why can't Trump just say something better than that? I don't know. Or is he trying to make this all obvious so we all know something's wrong? Is it a cry for help, or is he coding something? I don't know. Only Trump knows. The rest of us on the sideline speculating. So let's roll a quick clip from this.
President Trump said the Jeffrey Epstein matter is a hoax. Last week, his Justice Department said there were more than 1,000 victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Last summer, Trump said he was open to declassifying all the relevant files and the Epstein client list, and that his suicide looked suspicious. How can all those things be true and it be a hoax? I don't understand where things stand with all this.
I think the time has come for the administration to release all of the files regarding Jeffrey Epstein's investigation and prosecution. It's important that we protect the names of the victims. They should be excluded from any disclosure. But whether or not the facts justify charges, I think that anyone who participated or was associated with this despicable man ought to be held up to public scrutiny.
One of the most aggressive investigative reporters in our country, Julie K. Brown, was on my show last night, and she said when the Justice Department last week said 1,000 victims, she said that was a higher number than she was familiar with, and indicated to her that there have to be accomplices. Accomplices that some of the victims have named that worked with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And she said, shouldn't there be some inquiry into whether or not those people should be exposed to criminal prosecution? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's just bizarre. So you got over 1,000 victims. And we know Prince Andrew is settled. We know Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail. We know JP Morgan has paid out a big lawsuit. This is all on Trump for holding us up. Now we got Elon Musk destroying Trump's Epstein hoax claims as Bondi fires the case prosecutor amid MAGA base blowback. Tesla billionaire demolished Trump's latest assertion by highlighting undeniable facts, including that Epstein's former associate, Ghislaine, remains imprisoned. Wow. He says it's amazing that Epstein killed himself and Ghislaine is in federal prison for a hoax. And also that he should just release the files and point out which part is the hoax. See, wouldn't that be nice? So, yes, you could say the Democrats, let's assume the deep state Democrats tampered with the evidence over the last few years. Build it full of legal booby traps. Then just say something like that. Say, hey, this is what they did. They're messing with it, and now we can't release it, and now we have to untangle it. Just be patient. I promise it'll be released in the next, whatever. Just say some future date. But then meanwhile, here's more proof on RFK, MLK, JFK, the Trump assassinations, the Russia investigation. Some big people need to go down at some point if we're going to have a successful term. And then maybe we can pursue the Epstein stuff later, or maybe some of the other. It'll get dragged in eventually once the big players start going down and start turning on each other, if we can get to that point. We're still waiting. Okay, we'll keep moving along here. Actually, let's take a look at somebody who's not happy at all. That would be white nationalist Nick Fuentes. Can I play these videos? Yeah. Gonna get banned on YouTube. All right. Nick Fuentes is saying to Trump, F you suck. Why don't we just listen to him in his own words? I have not heard this video. I just saw it, found it newsworthy, and we'll play it. Not everybody's taking it well.
And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were. When we look back in history, we will see Trump as a scam artist who served as a vehicle for this rather than the other way around. We were not the vehicle for Trump. Trump was the vehicle for all of us.
Well, interesting speculation. I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, well, what were we supposed to do? Like, this had to happen. This was the only choice. Was Trump. You can't go for Kamala Harris. You can't take neocon Nikki Haley. You can't go with Chase Oliver, the libertarian. You have to believe that Trump, he's going to be angry. Well, he is angry. He's definitely an angry man. He's been conditioned after all of the lawfare and the assassination attempts. You want him to go in with some revenge on the deep state? Or did he get absorbed by the deep state? Let's take a look at, let's see. It's another tweet, got stuff out of order. A lot of open tabs here. Yeah, saying people demanding the Epstein files to be released are stupid and foolish. Said this was a hoax. Try not to repeat myself too much here. Also interesting was that Trump maybe has a handler, or maybe he's being extra cautious around certain people, or this is all, I don't know, with the optics. People are confused by this. And saying they're very alarmed. I mean, this is interesting. So Howard Lutnick, when Trump was making this little video clip here, as he was doubling down again. In fact, why don't I just run the video? Here is notable who's standing next to him.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand.
Never a big factor, except he rubbed shoulders with two presidents that I know of. Donald Trump, friends for 10 years at least. Bill Clinton, 26 flights. And I think 3 Israeli prime ministers, former. The royal family, Prince Andrew. Guy's a billionaire. Worked with a lot of heavy hitters, including here, that's his neighbor here, Howard Lutnick. Very strange. Yeah, Epstein was incredibly successful for somebody who was just like a math teacher, not a big entrepreneur, not a genius, but a fiscal wizard, I guess, was able to work with a lot of high-level people. A lot of it was, I guess, for like tax evasion. Did some maybe some financial crimes, and then that wound up into child trafficking. And then with all of the intelligence agencies, he created a honey trap of sorts, whether directly or indirectly. But then you've got so many Western countries involved, of course, with intelligence agencies, high-level families. Yeah, Epstein was a big player.
What the interest or what the fascination is, I really don't. And the credible information's been given.
It's one of the most fascinating stories of the last 10 years. He's downplaying it, but maybe that's because he's right there. He's right next to Howard Lutnick. But why is he with Lutnick? So Lutnick's a name you should be familiar with. He's the Jewish businessman often lurking behind Trump in the role of Commerce Secretary. He has shady connections to 9/11 because he lost. He was working at the. He had employees there at the towers. 658 employees died, but he did not go in. It's almost as if he knew what was going to happen. And he's got proximity to Jeffrey Epstein, was his neighbor, and the host of a 2015 fundraiser at a property linked to Epstein's real estate dealings. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on there. He's also buddies with Larry Summer. Yeah, he's a high-level player as well. So very interesting to see that. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime neighbor who bought his townhome from a trust controlled by Epstein and Les Wexner. Brilliant optics. So what is Trump saying here? Is Trump compromised? Or is Trump being careful talking about this in front of his buddy there? I don't know, but that's good. It's good that the internet sleuths are quick to point all these things out. We can put this puzzle together. Okay, I think we've repeated this story already. Yes, Musk is now calling this out again after saying that, Trump was already in it after he left Doge, the big Doge expedition in D.C. And then after that debacle went down, kind of left sour about it, and then immediately got on Twitter and said Trump was in the Epstein files. So you're never going to get it. He might have been onto something. He might know something. I don't know. Yep, already covered this. Massey pushes the House vote. let's take a look at what Charlie is saying. He's been under fire for being too pro-Trump, but his base is calling him out, so he is trying to navigate both sides. It's tricky, but here we go.
Okay, everybody, after a major event this last weekend where we talked about Epstein, I want to just kind of give you a little bit of an update because we've been covering other stories as well. Breaking today, President Donald Trump said, any credible information, let them have it. So here's a good place to start. There's an Office of Personnel report at the Department of Justice of a report where they interviewed Alexander Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney back in 2007 that prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein on a very, let's just say, suspicious case. He was not treated harshly. The original search warrant was selectively composed to try to protect Epstein. So the whole point of this Office of Personnel report goes to the underlying transcripts, and we can get access to that right now. Well, not we, but the Attorney General of the United States can get access to that. President Donald Trump has greenlit this. He said, any credible information, Pam Bondi, you can release it. And so I know Pam. I think Pam should do this. I think Pam should walk down the hall to the Office of Personnel Report, OPR, and get this report. In it is a ton of information. Secondly, I think the Department of Justice should move to unseal the grand jury testimony in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Number three, I think that Ghislaine Maxwell should be given green light. Go talk. Let people ask questions. Figure out what the heck is going on. Was Jeffrey Epstein an intelligence asset? Now,
yeah, well, he's definitely an intelligence asset, and it brings in a bunch of different countries into it. Is it MI6? Is it Mossad? Is it the FBI, CIA? He's also got dealing with Saudi arms dealer. Like it's a lot, and so it's above everyone's pay grade. And it'll be easier again. You know, if this was just a local America issue, and that would be one thing. But you're bringing in all these like high level, politicians from Israel and the royal family and the Saudis. It's not good. So it's not as easy for Trump to release that. But again, he's going to be in it somehow. Yeah, but that's good though. See, this is the power of it, because so many people, so many of the cult leaders would just rather this story is going to go away. And then what if there was no pressure? What if everybody just trusted the plan, trust Trump, he's going to work it out, he knows what he's doing, and then nobody applies any pressure, then there's no incentive for him to do anything. So, some influencers are doubling down. You're Brendan Dilley. He's just, or Cat Turd, some of these guys. Well, yeah, you got to give some credit to Charlie here. And I think it's good ideas here. Laying out the plan. Some of that was from, Mike Benz put that out. There's plenty of information to dig in to satiate the hunger of the public that want more information. And then you've got Michael Wolff, the author, that's got tons of audio from Epstein, and of course Steve Bannon's got 16 hours of video footage. There's a lot to keep us distracted and digging through stuff, just like with the JFK. We still don't have a definitive answer on who killed JFK, but they've given us a lot of things to look through, and we're still finding stuff every day. I suppose it's not just a clear cut. Here's the whodunit. Making us put the puzzle together and not giving us all the pieces, but we're still getting there. Okay, well, we'll let Charlie go another 30 seconds.
the Israeli government has come out and said, nope, he was not one of ours, under no means necessary. And so, was he Saudi? Was he MI6? Was he CIA? We do not know. And our audience is really fired up about the story. We've been covering it extensively. Yesterday, we were covering a lot of other stories as well, but today we had Mike Pence on. We had a couple of reporters on. This is some breaking news. President Trump today had said, any credible information, let them have it. A good place to start is unsealing the Department of Justice grand jury testimony, the Office of Personnel report. In there, we're going to find...
Well, I'm not sure. He said let them have it, but at the same time, I think they're shutting down the the special prosecutor. So I don't know. Pam already said it was on her desk, and then there was a truckload of evidence from New York that was going to come in. They said to sort it out, needed the time. It's perhaps. I think I had heard that there was a memo put out behind the scenes from the Trump people telling the major MAGA influencers not to talk about this. But there's so much demand from the people. They're kind of caught in between. So they can't let it go. But they don't want to push too far. But I think there's a reasonable list there of things that we can do. So we'll give them credit where it's due. Okay, a couple more things on couple more quick items on the Epstein, and then we're going to switch topics here. Part of the headlines here is the Epstein mess is enough to make you completely turn on the president after everything else he's done for this country. You're a snowflake. Wow. It's one of the questions I put out. It's a good point. I mean, you can't just dismiss child trafficking with the elites. It is old news, but it's still relevant. You got 1,000 victims. You got high-level people. This could be a massive victory for humanity. But are you willing to die on this hill and throw away all the good things that could potentially happen during these Trump years? Or are we just going to continue? Nope, we're all just going to sit down and make sure that we have something here. It's a tough call. And here's an interesting theory put out by Luke. It's also part of the headlines, and then we'll take a look at those. Review. So he says, an extremely charitable conspiracy theory. What if Donald Trump is being held hostage by a foreign entity, and he knows the only way to tell people about this is by being very obvious about it? So if there were 4,000 votes, it's pretty close. Almost half can believe it. People are saying, yeah, Israel pulls the strings. And this timing is way too suspicious. If you're going to release it on a weird late night Sunday memo right after 4th of July weekend, right before the Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, is set to come in, that is strange. It's not a coincidence. And then you've got former prime ministers that have relations with Jeffrey Epstein. So, not good. And then you see Howard Lutnick. I'm not saying it's a Jewish conspiracy here. I'm not going down that road. Well, you could certainly make that argument. What will they release? Might not just be on Trump. It's going to be a lot of people that Americans care about. So what if that's the case? Israel's holding on to that. They're saying, don't you dare release that. And then who knows what kind of leverage is going on behind the scenes? Maybe. A lot of Zionists in the cabinet. I don't trust any of them. So it's one of those things. So I guess, again, everyone's got to be aware and keep the pressure on. And hopefully we'll get answers. All right, let's get back to the headlines. Let's see. Question: the Epstein hoax is for weaklings. No. I would say definitely not. I'm sad that Trump has chosen to go that route. But here we are. And we must excommunicate past MAGA supporters. I disagree. Wouldn't that be weird if the only MAGA supporters were the Cat Turds and the Brendan Dillies and the Vince Langmans and the Laura Loomers and the Ben Shapiros, and then everybody else was just persona non grata. Those are the people you want running the Trump media. People that are afraid to call things out, afraid to stand on principle and just want to go on the loyalty. So I don't agree with that. Just put out the truth, and then people will, well, we'll see. Once we get all the information out, we'll see who's who. I'd be more suspicious of the people that just have blind loyalty to everything. Those are the ones that, to me, are the real grifters. So those are the people that maybe should be excommunicated because they're just trying to take advantage of that audience. I don't know. So should we force Congress to make the public vote on Epstein? Yeah, I like the MAGA, what Thomas Massie is doing, along with Ro Khanna. Phase 2. And then make everyone in Congress vote on it publicly. I think that'd be great. MAGA that are mad at Trump on Epstein are snowflakes. I don't believe that. Maybe some are. Maybe some got a little too emotional and impulsive and freaked out. Like Dave Smith calling for impeachment over Iran. But, we all have our little emotional, impulsive moments. But no, I more problem with people that are in the cult. And they're unwilling to compromise in any way. Just blind Trump followers. Okay, Trump is being held hostage by a foreign country. Could be something going on. Israel's holding something over his head, but if not, that's probably it. All right, but we'll move on. So that's all the Epstein news I have for today. Full Epstein ahead. It's a good one. Thank you, Kenneth. Great to see you. Sure is not going away. So, I wonder what moves they will come up with next. Gonna have to give the public something, because you can't sweep it under the rug as much as they want to. Okay, so what's the next story? The Biden staff scandal is the biggest in American history. I can find it. Here it is. Yeah, out of the Federalist. Certainly could be. It's got to be up there. You have people acting as the president behind the scenes because the president is mentally incapacitated. And who knows what kind of legislation was passed, deals were being made. And people that weren't elected were not accountable. People had no idea who they were. They were controlling the auto pen and they gave themselves pardons. So I covered this on Tuesday. I think the only legitimate pardon they said was actually signed with Joe Biden's hand was for his son. The rest of them, I guess, could be just all annulled. Not good for them. And I'm trying to get some accountability for that. So they pulled up Jill Biden's work husband. He pleaded the fifth during the House probe after questions about the Biden decline and cover-up. So his doctor, Joe Biden's doctor, pleaded the fifth because we all saw the dementia moments. Couldn't cover that up forever. Became undeniable after the first debate. So can't blame the doctor there. Had to back out because they should have just done the 25th Amendment on him. Been like, sorry, Joe. Could have called that out right away, but they saw people like Anthony Bernal there saw an opportunity. Oh, well, the president's out to lunch, so why don't we just do business on his behalf and we'll run our agenda? He'll never know, but this is Jill Biden's guy. So this is a team effort. They were all on board with it. It's all good. He just, continued, kind of the Biden agenda. But it wasn't really Biden's agenda. Just some radical leftists pulling on the puppet strings. So here's the moment Anthony Bernal, he took the fifth at a deposition today. Here he is. He was allegedly a very scary individual behind the scenes, as said by top DNC staffers, with David Hogg on hidden camera. But now he has been exposed, not so scary anymore. He did not come voluntarily. They had to issue a subpoena. But he did show up just to plead the fifth. So here we go.
Mr. Bernal, did you ever advise President Joe Biden to pardon his son, Hunter Biden?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Thank you. We're going to go off the record real quick. Okay, we'll go back on the record. Mr. Bernal, was President Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bernal has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Mr. Bernal, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
No, you know what's going to incriminate you. They are lawyering up in a big way. They are going to spend a small fortune, probably a rather large fortune in these days of, you could call them the white shoe boys, the lawyers in D.C., and be very careful about covering this because this is a massive scandal, and a lot of people should have their a lot of heads should roll for something like this. It's pretty shocking. Yeah, Jill Biden's work husband pleads the fifth, as did Dr. Kevin O'Connor. And then I'm sure we'll see more of them plead the fifth as they bring them up, including the family members. But at some point, there's going to have to be some sort of accountability. So this is still going. I mean, there is good news. Or do we just drop this all? Folk will die on the Epstein hill. Or we let Trump cook. Let it slide a few more. What's a few more years, right? Or do we tear each other apart? At least there was an easy answer, but there isn't. Well, no, I already said there's an easy answer. Just call the damn special counsel, let it operate behind the scenes, drag it out like the Durham report for a few years. That'll make some people happy. Give us a taste of a few things. Don't call us weaklings and, don't excommunicate us. Should be easy. He who pled the fifth likely drank a fifth. Nancy Pelosi and Kamala would. I wonder if they imagine being around like Pelosi and Kamala Harris at a brunch somewhere. But they just get bombed like right in the afternoon. What a shit show. All righty. Is that all I got on that one? Yeah. Let's move on. So Biden staff scandal, biggest in American history. Certainly has the capacity for it. Absolutely. Even gave them, the January 6th committee got a pardon. Anthony Fauci, so many others. So, yeah, massive scandal. All right, next one. A couple more quick ones. America should lower the legal voting age to 16. No, it sounds awful. But apparently they're going to do that in the UK. They're going to lower the voting age to 16 and landmark electoral reform. British government said on Thursday it's planned to give 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote in all UK elections in a major overhaul of the country's democratic system. It's an effort to boost public trust in democracy and would align voting rights across Britain. I guess where younger voters already participate in these elections. Devolved, they call it, in Scotland and Wales, part of the greater island there. I don't know, I think that's a terrible trend. 16 and 7, I mean, maybe they could make exceptions, like if there, for me, I mean, I don't know, I think everybody should have to take some kind of a basic civics test just so they can vote. They know what they're doing. They're not just one-issue voters. I can dream. Not the way it works, but lowering the voting age to people that don't know shit about shit, haven't lived their lives. And of course, they're going to be mostly on the liberal side, and that's fine. But I mean, you know, it seems like people start off more liberal and they get more conservative as they get older. But that's going to swing the elections. So people that have the least amount of knowledge as a voting base, voting for mostly on one side, they're giving themselves an advantage. As far as I'm concerned, this is like cheating. So they said there's a poll of 16 and 17-year-olds. 33% of them said they would vote for the Labour Party and 20% would vote for reform. 18% Green, 12% Liberal Democrats, 10% Conservative. I mean, that just seems like the Labour Party is rigging this. As much as they would like to do that here in the United States, because they know that 16, 17-year-olds are going to be mostly Democrats. And if they can't grant amnesty to the illegal aliens and give them voting rights, and they're going to try to give it to 16, 17-year-olds. That's, you know, that millions of people. That swings elections all over the country. I think it's a terrible trend. UK is in, you kidding me? Yeah. That's the other thing. Yeah, they're greatly indoctrinate them in school. And then they're going to give them voting rights. So their purple-haired lesbian art teacher can fill their heads full of propaganda. And I don't care if they got a purple-haired art teacher. Whatever. Go for it. You got to have a diversity of interesting people. Things are too politicized. Younger kids are more liberal. That's okay, but yeah, you gotta learn some things. You're still a kid living at a home with your parents at that age. You gotta go out, live in the real world, get in the real workforce. I think I should raise the voting age to 20 or 21. But what do I know? And take a civics test. Even Socrates, ancient Greece, birthplace of democracy in ancient Athens, didn't want to see everybody vote. Because a lot of people are fucking stupid. To be blunt. And they're being manipulated. But if they know their civics, they're a healthy adult, yeah, for sure. Anyway, I don't know. Most of us vote to party. And that'd be another thing. Vote for some weird stuff. Okay, well, anyway. That was fun. Let's move on, though. A couple more quick. I got one more story. Okay, we should trust the banks to control digital currency. Well, this is going to have some breaking news. I know they just passed the crypto legislation. POV, you just stepped into day 179 of the Trump golden age, bringing wealth and prosperity. I love the idea that they're going to do some good with the crypto. They should be soaring after they pass these bills. That's what I'm getting out of this. The problem is whether they're trying to sneak in some backdoor central bank digital currency, which is the concern here. And a lot of these, there's actually some pretty good politicians that are fighting that. For that, they're pro crypto, but they're saying no on these bills until they get rid of all the CBDC legislation. Otherwise, it's going to create a living nightmare for America, because we're going to have, you want JP Morgan controlling the crypto. They're going to shut you off if they want to. Could be used against us. So let's take a look at Marjorie Taylor Greene here. Because remember when Canada froze the truckers, the Freedom Convoy, and they shut down people's bank accounts, the protesters. They had grassroots protesters and a justifiable, protest against peaceful demonstrations against the government. And Justin Trudeau and his corrupt, financial czar or whatever it was, shut down so people couldn't donate money to the truckers, keep the protests going. But they found out they could just use Bitcoin, and there was nothing that they could do about it. So the problem is we're probably going to be in a digital age with money. It's going to change. There's not going to be as much cash on hand. It's all going to be digitized. But you kind of have to keep it decentralized, or the government could shut it off, and they have it all on the blockchain. That creates a dangerous situation. So, let's take a look. Here's another. Here's the video here from Marjorie, talking about Congress pushing a cashless society and the end of financial freedom. I haven't even heard this clip. But in 1971, we left the gold standard, and today the groundwork is being... so we had problems getting off the gold standard, and we had to create the petrodollar, which was backed by nothing. And we got off the petrodollar now. That just ended, I think, last year. Now we're seeing, people dumping the dollar. But perhaps Trump can work some magic here. Get us onto some kind of crypto thing, maybe a Bitcoin reserve, and a digital dollar, a decentralized dollar, perhaps. Some good things could come out of this if we have the right people and infrastructure in place. Well, we've gone from the gold standard to the petrodollar, and now they're going to go to the digital currency. This goes into all that mark of the beast stuff, but I'm not exactly sure if the CBDC stuff went through or not. But here we go.
I'm very confused about the Genius Act. I thought there was a deal made by the president to make sure that included was going to be the central bank digital currency. There'd be no possibility of a backdoor to get that. So where are we?
Steve, let me explain something. In 1971, we went off of the gold standard. The Federal Reserve did that. And we went to cash, a cash society. And the value of the dollar has drastically gone down to the buying power is less than 10 cents now from where it was in the 1950s before we went off the gold reserve. What's happening today on July 17th in 2025, when no one is paying attention, no one's talking about it, everyone is in blind rage about the Epstein files, and I don't blame them. However, right now, what is being voted on today in Congress is the entire setup, groundwork, and entire infrastructure being laid to move from cash to digital currency. And the number one thing that is not happening today is a ban on a central bank digital currency. This means the ability for the government Take control of your digital bank account where all your money is and turn it off. And this is why I'm so upset and it's not being talked about. Steve, I was the only no vote on the rule last night. And Congress set a record last night and no one's talking about that either. This was the longest vote held open for a rule in history. And it finally shut down sometime around midnight because there was a deal made and the deal will not be honored. It was a deal that Speaker Johnson made, and he said that he would put a ban on central bank digital currency in the NDAA. But let me tell you something, that's going to get stripped out of the Senate because what they told us all week long is the Senate does not have the votes to pass a ban on a central bank digital currency. So I wanted to lay this out straight for you all. You never thought in your lifetime that the government would shut you down, would close your churches, would close your schools, would close your business. And that happened only a few years ago. But what is happening today is the groundwork is being laid, and it's all in the name of cryptocurrency and stablecoin. But it is the entire regulatory process to switch us from cash to a cashless society to digital currency that can be controlled by the federal government. And there will be no ban on a central bank digital currency. There will be no way to protect your ability to fully control your digital currency in the future. And
okay, well, that would be alarming. So I know this passed. I just don't know if they were able to remove the legislation there, because that could be, the poison pill of this whole thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Now we could be on a decentralized. We'll get some regulation out for this crypto thing. Maybe that could help us as far as our economy. Trump wants to be, this America to be the top of the world as far as crypto goes, or whether it's mining Bitcoin, or he's got the crypto reserve with Ethereum and the XRP and the Solana. He's got the basket. And we know that the Federal Reserve and our national debt is unsustainable. The BRICS nations, there's people dumping the dollar. Maybe this is something that could be good as long as it's not under the control of central banks again. Then we're just going to wind up in the same situation, but even worse. Because if there is a cashless society and they're able to, target and shut you down, that could create economic tyranny. So, not good. Yeah, further drawn into the matrix. No, we just beat us just like the Canadian truckers. So all of a sudden, the finance minister says, "No, you're protesting. You're protesting the Jeffrey Epstein list. Well, then we're gonna shut down your bank accounts." There you go. That'll show you. But anyway, we'll see. I don't know the details. All I know is that it seems like crypto is moving up right now. I'll post this. This is CoinGecko.com. The latest numbers. Looks like Bitcoin is back over 120,000. XRP is going parabolic. Ethereum is moving up quite a bit. So, a lot of green coming up. You're going to see some, perhaps some God candles today as Trump is opening this up. So, there's good stuff. Here's your good news. So, I don't want to give Trump a pass on the Epstein stuff, but I mean, man, if he does enough other good, I guess he could sort of make up for it. But he's going to have to get some big players down at some point. Maybe lay the groundwork to untangle the Epstein stuff, so that after he's out of office, maybe that they can do something. I don't know. Hope there's a happy solution for all of it. I don't know. But that's all I've got. We'll see what happens over the weekend. Yeah, digital dollar can make her holler. Yeah, got the XRP my pants. Yeah, that's a weird one, man. But congratulations to all the XRP holders or what have you. Whatever you've got, looks like everything's flying. So, good news. Yeah, it's probably a good time for people to get into crypto if you haven't already. I'm only going to recommend Bitcoin, of course. But I mean, with this new legislation, everything's out. So this opens the door for other things. Whereas in the past, you just want to kind of focus on Bitcoin. It's a currency, it's a fixed commodity with the quantity. Everything else is speculation. But now I can say, if this legislation is through with the cryptos, then they should all be flying. And we're going to see the emergence of Web3 in some of these crypto projects and finding out what has real utility. I'm a Solana guy myself, but we'll see. Ethereum's going to be exploding, and then we'll see what the competition looks like. So I don't know. So cool news. Cool news. As long as there's no CBDC backdoor trickery in there, we should be all right. Yeah, the XRP and the XLM folks should be happy. What's XLM? That one's popping too. That's up 58% over the week. 38% for XRP. But at that market cap, that is a pretty significant move. I swear it was only like a couple of dollars not too long ago. Now it's at 346. I don't know. To each their own. You have to do your own research, I suppose. It looks like crypto's the future. And this was significant legislation for better or worse. So we'll hope for the better. Otherwise, stick with the Bitcoin or the Monero or the Zcash, I guess. So the government can't shut you down. But that's all I've got. So thank you, everybody. Kenneth and TK Mark and Amber and all of you out lurking, watching the replay, what have you. Please like and subscribe. We'll do it all again next time, next week, next Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. That's all I've got. Love you guys. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next time. But I am out. Thank you.